Hollywood and the four corners of the world. You asked for it. Starring Rich Little.
Thank you, and welcome to the only show on television that goes anywhere in the world just because you asked for it. Tonight, from Mexico, Yugoslavia, and our nation's capital, a stamp worth $90,000, and you may have one. Mexico's walking romance industry, the Yugoslavian Olympics, on horseback, and much, much more. But first, a squirrel that supports a family, and she does it on water skis. Her name is Twiggy, and if there were a squirrel Olympics, boy, she'd win paws down. Our Danny Folke was so anxious to see this flying squirrel that she flew to Sanford, Florida, because, Diane Rillera of Goldenrod, Florida, you asked for it.
Twiggy was once a typical squirrel who never dreamed of living anyplace else but in a tree. Well, all of that changed about 2 years ago, however, when Twiggy fell from a tree, and she landed near Chuck Best and discovered a whole new life. After Chuck nursed Twiggy back to health, he made some styrofoam water skis as a joke, and he trained her to be pulled around by a radio-controlled boat. Well, Twiggy has been water skiing ever since.
A squirrel can relate a lot of love. Twiggy will just melt in your arms when she wants to. In other words, she'll lay there and you can pet her on the back and rub her on the belly, and she'll just eat that up if she's in that kind of a mood.
Twiggy has become such an integral part of the house, Chuck and his wife Luann have had a hard time imagining life without her. Aside from being cute, adorable, and full of tricks, she's also a major source of income for the Bests. Not only does this squirrel store nuts, it brings home the bacon. Thanks to Twiggy's water skiing ability, the Bests have started a family industry called Squirrel Company Incorporated. The company arranges for Twiggy to tour with her act, and it's distributing Twiggy t-shirts and Twiggy bath toys. How well does this pay off? Well, the company is successful enough to purchase this $14,000 speedboat for Twiggy's act. Twiggy is also the hometown sweetheart. She's probably the only squirrel in America to have a special day named in her honor, and to have the keys of the city presented to her. Sanford, Florida is nuts about Twiggy.
And Twiggy, if you have any trouble while you're in Sanford, just let me know and I'll take care of it.
When will it all end? This is only the beginning, according to Chuck. Twiggy's replacements are already being trained. Chuck works out with these baby squirrels every day, and it takes about 6 months to teach them to water ski. Swimming is a natural talent. The future for the Bests and Twiggy may include a theme park called Squirrel World, where paying customers can watch the squirrels do nutty things like windsurfing, sailing, and even piloting a helicopter. For Twiggy, things are already looking up. There she is, the flying squirrel of Florida.
You know, Twiggy's made a lot of money water skiing, but it doesn't do her any good. See, she can't remember where she buried it. She can't even afford a postage stamp. Not if it's the kind you're going to see next. We'll be back.
And now back to Rich Little.
The price of stamps being what it is, you're actually watching money being made. But what makes them really valuable is a government mistake. To learn a bit about stamps and how a tiny piece of paper can be worth a fortune, Jack Smith takes us to Washington, D.C., because David M. Levy of Decula, Georgia, you asked for it.
Rich, that stamp with Honest George's face on it happens to be the first American stamp ever printed, way back in 1847. Here at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing in our nation's capital, they now print over 30 billion stamps a year. That's enough to wrap around the earth 9 times. There's a fortune in stamps inside these well-secured walls. Everywhere you go, you find giant displays of old and rare stamps, including the famous upside-down airplane, now worth $90,000 because of a printing error.
There are very few of them in existence today.
For years, the process of stamp making has been much the same. Meeting every other month, a select group of historians, collectors, and officials considers thousands of design suggestions. Then on to the desk of an artist known as a banknote designer. Artist Peter Kochi was personally responsible for designing the latest set of popular flag stamps. His job was to visualize the theme, America the Beautiful, on 3 different stamps, using several phrases from the song by the same name. After doing many thumbnail sketches of possible scenes for his stamp, Peter finally was given the go-ahead to use a Portland, Maine lighthouse to illustrate From Sea to Shining Sea. He first did a freehand sketch of the scene. From the final sketch, Peter made a tracing. Then wetted his brush and began the delicate process of watercoloring his scene. The stamp painting then traveled down the hall to the engraver. Here, a highly trained craftsman etched in steel the exact design Peter had created. Once a stamp engraving is okayed, it's time to go to press. Pre-glued paper is fed into a multi-million-dollar printing machine. Most of the stamps end up on 800-pound rolls over 3 feet in diameter. From here, it's run through a machine that makes sheets, books, or coils of stamps. $15 billion of these stamps are sold every year. Next time you buy a stamp for that important letter, take a closer look at the stamp's fine artist detail. You saw it happening right here because, David Levy, you asked for it.
This is former President Richard Milhouse Nixon. You know, I enjoyed seeing that stamp with the picture of George Washington on it. You know, they made a stamp with my picture on it. I took a licking for 4 years. Here's Jack Smith again, and this time the original host of You Asked For It. And he has another of those wonderful stories that are just as good the second time around. Here's Jack.
Well, thank you, Rich. Now, this amazing segment you're about to see was shot on August 3rd, 1953, and it was a reprise of an act that our viewer had seen many years before and had been unable to forget in all that time. It's called The Great Fussner, and what he does is not only great, it's totally unique. Watch.
As you see him perform, it's hard to believe Fussner is in his 60s. Watch his skill and dexterity. The ball is about 30 inches in diameter and is made of a composition. There are no guardrails on the side of the ramp either. It's perfectly flat. It's less in width than the diameter of the ball, as you can see very easily. It's about an 18 or 20 degree grade, climbing about 50 feet to the top. He wears Indian moccasins, by the way. His main worry, and I guess he's had many worries, is a sudden gust of wind. Really a very delicate balance. Coming up now to the top. Now across onto the platform, way, way up in the air. Teeter-totter in use now. He's not too sure of himself, backing up and on over to the tiny platform. Wind is blowing stronger up there. The descent requires terrific strength. Entirely different muscles must be used, and that same delicate balance. Getting his feet in the right pattern. That's most important as he starts on the spiral going down. Fussner told us this is the only apparatus of its kind in the entire world. He packs it up and takes it with him all over the country. For many years, he's amazed people. On his way down, safely so far. Easy. Easy now. There, that's it.
Jack, that was great, but how does he do all that?
Well, he did tell me his secret.
Now, come on, how does he do that?
Very carefully.
I believe you. In Mexico, they have a strolling group who walk around the streets promoting romance. You'll see that next. We'll be back.
And now back to Rich Little.
Thank you, John. Is this man about to be mugged by a group of out-of-work musicians? Is he an act waiting for a producer? No, he's the most universal figure on earth, a man in love. He's about to do what they do in Mexico when this condition sets in, and all those men are going to help him. J. Martin Haynes of San Francisco, California, you asked for it.
This is Mexico City's Garibaldi Plaza, the mariachi capital of the world.
Rich, as you can see, on any given night here in Garibaldi Square, you can find between 20 and 40 mariachi bands up for hire by romantic young gentlemen who want to woo their ladies fair on the wings of song.
Young men of the city, like Roberto Sanchez, who want to capture the attention of a girl, are not always permitted by Mexican custom to make a direct approach. The mariachi serenade has become an accepted part of the courtship ritual, which will enable him to at least find out if the girl is interested. This is Continental Jalisco, a typical mariachi band. The mariachi leader is Ricardo Bustamante. Roberto approaches to say that he likes the way Ricardo's band looks and sounds, and he finds the price is right. The cost for the serenade will be about $40 American dollars. The girl's family shouldn't be too worried because Roberto will have a whole band to act as chaperone. In the brightly lit courtyard of the girl's home, the mariachis will try to convey Roberto's feelings to a young woman he has not even been permitted to talk to. It all has to be done with the music. A typical mariachi band has about a dozen instruments as a result of varied foreign influences. People say that the guitars came from Spain, the trumpets from the French, the violins from the Russians, and that small harp, where else but from the Irish? This is the moment of truth, as they say at the bullfights. Will the young lady spurn her suitor's passionate moonlight serenade? Has the music of the mariachis touched her heart? Ah, yes. As they say in the movies, boy gets girl. Roberto is happy, Ricardo and the mariachis have done their job, and we're a part of all of this because you asked for it.
You know, I serenaded a young girl once under a balcony as Louis Jourdan. And it worked, too. She ran off with Louis Jourdan. Say, there must be something you've always wanted to see. Some place you've always wanted to go, some person you think is the greatest. Well, now you can see it, or them, or there, because we'll do it for you. Just write and tell us who, or where, or what, and we'll take the challenge. Here's our address. You asked for it, P.O. Box 1980, Hollywood, California, 90028. You know, cutting a watermelon is difficult enough when you're standing still in your kitchen. But can you imagine cutting a watermelon on horseback? That's what they do in Yugoslavia. It's part of the Ljubuchevo horse games. And our reporter, Snezana Nikolic, is in Yugoslavia right now because, Radovan Burstash, you asked for it.
Rich, we are in Požarevac, Yugoslavia, to the 18th annual running of the Ljubuchevo horse games. Other countries can look forward to the Olympics, but these hard-riding contestants from Yugoslavia, Greece, Hungary, Bulgaria, and Romania consider this the most exciting sports event in the world. These games commemorate a racing victory won by a rider from the horse farm of a Serbian king over a century ago. But this is a truly democratic event, and anybody with a horse can enter. The highlight of the games is the multi-competition, a 5-event contest similar to the Olympic pentathlon. Boban Kojic is 25 years old student of technology at Belgrade University, and everybody thinks he will be the winner of the multi-competition today. The first event is riding. The best rider gets 3 points, the second one gets 2 points, and the third only 1 point. The second is something you would expect in an old cowboy and Indians movie. But these Yugoslavs, Greeks, and Hungarians can handle a bow and arrow as skillfully as an Apache or Sioux warrior. The javelin throw in the regular Olympics is a contest of distance, but here it is one of marksmanship from the horse, who must be attended to his rider every moment. In the next event, things get tricky. The contestant has to pierce this apple, watermelon, and ring in one continuous ride, these bull's eyes demanding the eye of a hawk and the hand of a surgeon. This ancient Viking weapon, a topuz, is the feature of the final event. unfortunately didn't win. The winner is Petrovic Ljubisha. Today there were many winners. Ljubisha with his medal, the bettors with their money, and you and I were winners too, because Radovan Bucac, you asked for it.
This is George C. Scott, and I played in Patton. I'm glad we didn't have to fight those guys. I preferred something quieter, like World War II.
And now back to Rich Little.
We'll see you next time on